Hey, this is Matt Pichet, the Fruitful Investor and your investing coach. And today's video is about how to easily become a young real estate investor. Now, if you're watching this video, you're likely in your 20s and you probably want more out of life. You're sick of the idea of paying for student loans for the next 10 to 15 years or working the same 9 to 5 boring job until you're 65 and old and gray where you can finally retire. That's lame old news. So, number one thing you have to do in order to become a young real estate investor is to buy assets. Okay, now assets are things that make you money and give you cash flow, such as real estate. Now there are other investment vehicles you can use to invest your money in, like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Let's quickly discuss the differences between stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and real estate. More specifically, stocks. Okay, these investments vary greatly depending on emotions, okay, or other people's decisions. For example, if the Canadian dollar is low or if the economy is low, okay, your stock will likely greatly drop. If you're investing in oil companies, okay, if oil decides to change, which changes like every day for some reason because of a storm down in Texas, okay, that stock goes down. Okay, if you're investing in a business and that business happens to make a dumb decision and that business goes down in value, your stock goes down in value. So these investments depend on other people's decisions and actions, which to me is bullshit. I want to have the most control I can, which is why I love real estate. So real estate is, if I want more value for my property, I can renovate it. I can make it nicer, which will raise the value. Okay, if the market is really low and crappy, and okay, the real estate cycle is in a slump phase, I don't have to sell. I can just hold on to it and wait until the next boom cycle comes, as it always comes. It's just how the real estate cycles work. They go up and down, they'll always come back up, and they'll always go down. Okay, so if the market is booming, I can sell. Okay, I can liquidate my money easily. So there's way more control with real estate when it comes to your asset. Okay, so in order to become a young real estate investor, you have to buy a property. Now it sounds simpler than it is, right? It sounds so easy. Okay, but here's an example. Okay, so like you're probably saying, it's not that easy. I can't afford to buy a rental property. You know, I'm still living at mom and dad's. I just started my full-time job and I don't have the amount of money that it takes to buy a rental property. And you're right, it can be expensive. Let me show you an example. Now, a semi-detached home in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is the exact properties that I personally specialize in and love, okay, these properties generally cost around $275,000. Okay, so that's an average price of a semi-detached home. Now, the down payment on this property to buy it as a rental property, and I'll get to this in a second, but to buy it as a rental property, you gotta put 20% down, right? We all know this. And that is $55,000 just for the down payment, plus closing costs, land transfer tax, and renovations. You can pretty much call that $75,000, okay? Now you're thinking, what the hell? That's not easy. There's no way I can do that as a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 27-year-old. That's impossible. Got some news for you. You can buy a property like this much cheaper if you're a young and aspiring real estate investor. So here's how you do it. You buy a property as your primary residence and you live in it for a little bit. You're probably thinking, why the hell are you telling me to buy a primary residence? I thought I was here to learn about how to invest in real estate. Hold on, I'll get to that. So you want to buy a property and move into it for a year, and then after the year's up, you can move out of it or buy another primary residence and rent out that property. There's no rules saying you can't do that. Now, I will say, if you buy a property as a primary residence and only put down 5%, and then right when you close, you quickly rent it out right away, that is technically bank fraud, and I don't advise that strategy. That's not what I'm talking about. I want you to actually move into a property and live in it for a little while. Now, this is a really great strategy for young people, especially those who are full-time. You know, you're 20 years old, you're working in a trade or some type of job like that, where it's a good full-time paying job. It's a brilliant idea to buy maybe like a townhome. Okay, so maybe you can't afford a 275 house because being able to qualify for that on your own is pretty impressive. It's pretty hard to do that by yourself unless you have a spouse that you're with. That's awesome. But let's say you're not. Let's say you're a single guy or girl. You know, you're 22 years old. You have a good full-time job. You're working away as a carpenter or whatever in a factory. Okay, you want to get some assets under your name. So let's say you buy a townhome with a garage, a nice townhome for $190,000. Okay, this is realistic here in Kitchener. Now, that's not bad. You can easily find a townhome with a garage for $190,000, condo or a freehold. Okay, so the 5% down is only going to be $9,500. Okay, so that is pretty affordable. So $9,500 plus you got your lawyer costs of $1,200 roughly. Okay, now as a first-time buyer in Canada and Ontario, you do not have to pay land transfer tax. So that's pretty sweet. You save that money. As a first-time buyer, you don't pay land transfer tax. So your all-in cost, to buy this property, the closing costs, and maybe to renovate it, you're probably going to renovate it yourself because you're young and eager, so you're probably paying through the flooring yourself. You can pretty much say you're in this property for $15,000. So you can buy a property for $15K. Guys, that's really easy, okay? If you're working a full-time job and you're responsible with your money, you can easily save up 15 grand while living with mom and dad. This should take 7 to 8 months tops to save this money up. Think about that. Think about the repercussions, the positive ones, that's gonna have on your future. When you buy a property at 22 years old or something, and you keep that property forever, and all it costed you was 15 grand, guys, think long term, okay? This is how easy it is to become an investor. So now you live in it for a year, you're with your spouse, you got a girlfriend or boyfriend, and now it's time to move on, okay? So 3 years, 4 years, however long it takes, now you move out and you buy another primary residence. Again, 5% down. Although this time, you have to pay for land transfer tax, but you're gonna buy another house, a bigger house, probably a better house, but you're gonna keep this one as a rental. Now you got 2 houses. Okay, so how much more credibility do you think you have as, now you're probably 24, 25, you own 2 houses. This is how you attract more joint venture partners and more money to continue buying more properties. Guys, this is exactly the strategy I used. I bought my first property when I was 22 years old. I quickly bought I did this exact strategy. I bought the second one, the nicer primary residence, 6 months, no, not 6 months, it was about 13 months later. I bought the next primary residence, and I kept the first one, and it just snowballed. Then I kept getting obsessed with it, and then I got more joint venture partners, and long story short, at the time of this video, we're actually buying our next primary residence now. This is about 6 years later after this, but our next primary residence, and now I'm up to 8 properties at 27 years old, okay? Most people won't even buy 2 properties in their whole lifetime. I'm 27, I have 8 properties, and I'm not slowing down anytime soon. So this strategy definitely works. It's the same strategy I did, the same strategy I'm helping other young people do in Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge. And it's definitely what you should do if you're looking to get out of the 9 to 5, you're in college or university, you just hate it, you're gonna get stuck with tons of student loans that will likely not get you anywhere. A lot of people have these degrees and diplomas that they aren't doing shit with, because that's just the way the world is now, okay? So that's the tip. I hope you learned something. If you learned anything, please click like right below this video. It takes you 2 seconds, but it goes a long way to helping my videos get more views so I can build my business, so I can have more people like you make a ton of money in real estate. See you in the next video.
Put your money in that real estate.
Hey, before you click another video, I want to give you some free stuff. You like free stuff, right? Click on the first link below this video and get my book, Single Family Investing Made Simple, absolutely free. Read as I walk a real-life client through the entire investing process from start to finish and document it for you. Click on the second link and get my other book, The Real Estate Investor's Handbook to Freedom. This book is a must-have for any investor looking to take their business and life to the next level. And last but not least, get my third and best book, 101 Single Family Investing Tips. Inside, you'll find 101 proven and tested investment strategies that I use every single day in my business in order to grow my wealth and manage my portfolio. I hope you take advantage of all the knowledge below, and don't forget to click like and subscribe so we can get more of these awesome tips. See you in the next video.